Detroit and the region around were underserved in terms of being able to have the qualifications and the skill sets, and the ability to be able to attain these jobs that he was trying to bring into the region. So once this reform passed in 2021, October 2021, it opened up a lot of doors for those who were unable to reach out and attain the employment and be able to attain the education and things like that that they wanted to attain before, they were unable to attain before, so that they can help to feed into the economy of Michigan. So once that happened, from my standpoint, people around me, people that I know, people that reached out to me about the situation that were going through what I was going through, myself personally, we were all able to attain various levels of employment and education and skill sets that we couldn't attain before, that now could help feed into the economy. Now, from a municipal standpoint, from a county standpoint, from a statewide standpoint, the opportunities that were being brought in that were either being sat on or just passed along to someone else were now available to us. So therefore that helped to feed into the economy from that standpoint itself. And so there's a different level of vibrancy that you would see from that standpoint.
From the state budget perspective, it's a lot of money, if it were my money. But as a percentage of the budget, it's not a lot of money. It's a fraction of that small fraction where you talked about at the top. Right? People say, where will we find the money? The answer is there's always enough money to do what the state wants to do. You just got to get in the list of things they want to do.
And there have been a lot of studies that have shown that what it costs to incarcerate these folks is way more than anything that the revenue brings in, because you're talking about a very small percentage of revenue that's actually realized. Mostly, you see a lot of states do amnesty programs because they finally recognize they're never going to recover this. So,
One of our efforts is to remove.
I know, so
What's that? One of our efforts.
we weren't able to go an hour and a half.
One of our, oh, we gotta go. One of our efforts is to eliminate the collections responsibility from the court. No more bench warrants. No more jailing people because they owe money.
Yeah.
We're trying to get rid of that.
Good.
All right, let's move around.
Okay, thanks. Oh, is it on? Okay, I have one more. Okay, this is maybe quick. We've heard reform, it's like a buzzword now, and we've seen the drug courts and treatment courts, and people often talk about the symptoms of poverty, but it's not new, right? And so I wanna know, what was from this panel's perspective, what was the incentive for reform? Because again, people point to, oh, people need these treatments, like they always have. So what was that incentive?
In Alabama, it's because we don't have the money to incarcerate everybody. We have probably the worst prison system in the whole country. We're about 150% capacity. We want to be harsh, but we don't want to pay for that harshness. Leah actually said that, she's in the back, but that's true. And so I think the reform is just out of necessity. Drug courts, mental health courts came about because we had such a flood of people we didn't know what to do with and you couldn't incarcerate. So I'm all about mental health courts and drug courts, but really they're a byproduct of the system being overwhelmed by those numbers. And they're really a response to try to deal with the numbers. Now I hope that we do some good, I hope there's some value to it, but that is what brought about mental health courts, drug courts, is because the volume was too great. There were too many cases.
I think from my perspective, sometimes it's public officials, elected officials who actually care about the issue. So yes, it's been going on for a very long time, but it reaches a breaking point for certain groups, and then they come in and they say this is a problem, and they actually reach out to their elected officials, who are then willing to try to make some type of a political deal to accomplish some type of reform. But I think it really does begin at that local level in a lot of instances in order to accomplish these reforms. And then you couple that with having the right folks in office who are willing to listen. Because if the state wants to do it, they're going to do it. If they're going to want to find the money, they will find the money somewhere. So I think where there's a will, there is a way to accomplish these things. And it's also cyclical, right? Because I think then folks think that the reforms are working, but maybe there is not an incentive to actually study it. I think more work needs to be done to see how those reforms are being effectuated and to see if they're working, because maybe you need to make those further tweaks from a policy perspective. So I think there has to be a greater incentive to be constantly evaluating, because folks in government are just moving from one fire to the next. And they're just trying to put out the fire that exists at that time. And when there was COVID, that was the only fire, right? There was nothing else that could be addressed. And think of it as it's whatever is bubbling up, and that's the one issue. But if they were smarter and more strategic, they would be constantly evaluating all the problems. But that's a whole separate conversation.
Okay. They will be around all day today and tomorrow, so you can chat with them. I'm sure they would love that more, but round of applause. And you all have at least a 10-minute break, and then we'll have another panel.
Do you cover any specific areas? I'm Alex Burns. I write for Alabama Daily News, but I grew up in North DFW area. I'm always curious to see if that's there's a million campers. That's good Joe, yes, so bad. And then all this
Yes.